Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to a Fresh Stories book chat. We're here with a wonderful guest today, and we're going to let her introduce herself. And as always, I love chatting everything books and getting to chat with experts. So, Dr. Nikki's here, and I'm very, very psyched. Okay, who are you? What did you write? Tell me all the good stuff.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Dr. Nicole Pensak. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm the author and founder of Rattled, How to Calm New Mom Anxiety with the Power of the Postpartum Brain.
Amazing, amazing. So, the question I always love to ask authors when they come on this show is why? Why did you write the book?
Great question for many reasons. I mean, the first being that I'm a clinical psychologist and an expert in treating postpartum and maternal mental health. And I went through postpartum myself, went from I really hit my rock bottom, but in a short period of time got to thriving because I follow, the guidance that I teach my patients. And then I went back as an academic researcher. I went back to the research to understand what's going on in a woman's brain and during this huge transition and developmental phase. And I really uncovered a story that's not being told that everyone needs to hear.
Yeah, I think that especially with maternal mental health and postpartum mental health, it's so important to talk about it
Mhm.
because you don't know when you're in the trenches, right? That's what's happening to you. I certainly had a similar experience. So were you somebody that always wanted to write a book, or was this one of those instances where you were like, I have to put this into the world?
So both. I mean, I always loved writing and I knew that it was something that I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to write a book, but more importantly, I needed to have a story. And this became my story, which I did not expect this was going to be the story, but I didn't just write a book to write a book. I really
Yeah.
felt like I had to share this story.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was your process like? And I always love talking to authors about this because I say this with utmost honesty is I thought going into writing a book was going to be one experience and it was a completely different experience. So what was your process like when it came to writing this book?
I love that question. Well, for me, that was the most enjoyable process for me. I just wrote whenever I could. I was reading a lot of Anne Lamott at the time, and I read Bird by Bird, and that sort of was like my handbook for how to write. And I remember because I had a newborn at the time and a toddler, I was extremely busy, but I felt this pressure that like I had to get my story out. I had to get that downdraft, right? And so I
Uh-huh.
was writing furiously at any time I could. I remember drying my hair and writing, and I would like take the computer with me. I would write when, everyone was asleep. I just had to get it all out there. And then, the editing and the cleaner
Yeah.
versions came
Yeah.
out. But that was sort of like the beginning of the process for me. Yeah.
I love that, and I feel like that's so, like, historical, right? Women have always had to find time to write between, the moments that they're mothering and they're taking care of their children, right? And so I love that you're so honest about that because I too have written on the floor of the next to the crib in the dark, right? And all of those things. So tell us a little bit about the book. Talk us through kind of this journey of, what does this book cover? Who is this book for?
So this book is basically for expectant parents, people that are considering starting a family, up through the first, I guess, 4 years. It's really for the early years of childhood. It's also for any primary caregiver or grandparent, right? Anyone that's like close to the family, because what it is, it's a science-backed roadmap to the first years, right? And so the book is structured so that the first part really talks about what's essential. So that's postpartum mental health, proactive mental health care, and setting you up for success so that essentially we can try to prevent postpartum anxiety and depression and all of that stuff. And then the second part is talking about the developmental phase of becoming a parent, right? And for mothers, matrescence, right? We know that it's a neurocognitive developmental phase. And so to understand what's happening in your brain, in your body, to your identity, to your relationships, and also the emotional changes. So I go through mom shame, mom guilt, mom rage, baby bonding, back to work challenges, relationship challenges, and a sort of communication. And then the third part is very intentionally set up so that it's sort of like Maslow's hierarchy, right? You need the first part, you need the mental health to be intact before you get to the second part, right? And can take it all in. Then you have the second part intact, you get that all in. And then the third part is really focused on thriving and how to make the most of these brain changes and these identity changes and this transition in life to feel your best and get the most you can out of this incredible time.
I love that so much, and I think it's so important. I could see people just adding this to their baby registry, giving this, at showers. It's incredibly important to bring all of these topics up because they happen, and often when you go through them, you think you're the only one, right, going through it, and you're definitely not. So what did you learn about yourself while you were in the process of writing this?
Oh, that's a great question. I learned so much. What did I learn about myself through writing this? Well, to bring a book to market is no small feat. And I would say that I learned a lot about the whole process. And I love writing, and I will always have that and continue to write books. The marketing part and the bringing it to the public is really challenging.
Yeah.
And so I think having a better understanding of what it takes when you do write a book, I'm kind of glad that I didn't know ahead of time,
Yeah.
and that I'm learning as I go. And, really, it's been a blessing. And I've had so many cool experiences and met wonderful people, and the readers are amazing. And there's also this challenge of the marketing side, the business piece that
Yeah.
I don't think I think I maybe underestimated, even though I planned it out pretty well. That was
Yeah.
that's the learning curve right there.
I mean, I hear you. I'm into that for sure. I often say writing a book is like having a baby, right? You just don't know what it's going to be like, how you're going to respond to it, all of the things. So I love that response, and it's true. Just
Yeah.
it's very true. Um, okay, so you wrote this book about maternal health, mental health, and postpartum health. What was something really surprising that you found in the feedback you were getting from people while you were writing the book or as the book came out and you launched? Like, I'll give you an example. I definitely had postpartum depression and anxiety with especially my second son and a lot of intrusive thoughts.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize it at the time, right, that that's what it was until now years later looking back and going, "Oh, but I didn't tell anyone. I was scared to say something." Did you get feedback like that from people as you launched this? Like, "Oh, I finally see what was happening to me in this book?"
I get that all the time, thankfully. I'm so grateful for the readers that share that experience with me. I'll get random emails, and it just makes my day in terms of, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know I had this. I feel seen, so validated, and I didn't know that, like, this was going on or that it was OCD or that it was
Yeah.
depression." And I think that that's just so rewarding for me, honestly. It's so gratifying,
Yeah.
and it just reinforces why I wrote this thing and why I work to get it out there. I say that I gave birth to this baby book, Rattled,
Uh-huh.
like raising it in the wild. And
Yeah.
so that's part of it. That's part of the experience.
Okay, so I have a question for you. If you have a friend who is experiencing these symptoms, I would say, right, and they're going through what looks like maybe postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD, rage, what is a really gentle way you can recommend that they read this book?
Well, the book is so much bigger than just postpartum mental health. And I think that some people get turned off when they hear, anxiety, right? Or postpartum, right? There's still like that stigma there. And I did encounter that. And still encounter that as I talk about it. But I want to reinforce that the book is so much bigger than that. It's really like how to navigate this incredible new phase. And we have so much information about adolescence and what that looks like and how to support a teen and how to parent a teen. And it's sort of common knowledge out there, right? At this point with
Yeah.
resources. We don't have anything until now about how to prep a mother and the family and society for what's actually happening and the strengths and the cognitive boosts that come with it and and the complexity. I mean, the postpartum mental health is really a small part of the book, actually.
Ugh.
It's sort of like that's the bare minimum we can do for mothers right now to sort of get that intact. We have a maternal mental health crisis, so we would advocate for solving that, and that's part of my mission. But beyond that, I think there's just so much more to know, and I think that all parents, society in general, and families can benefit from everything else in the book to better understand what's going on, be better supported and to be more supportive of the mom and the family.
Absolutely, because it's a major identity shift, right? And on a chemical level, like you said, in so many things. I remember, especially my first son, when there wasn't another toddler running around, um, just feeling huge bursts of creativity right
Yeah.
after having him and being a little bit confused and resentful that I didn't have the time I needed to, do the paintings or the quilting or whatever it is that I wanted to do. And I think it's a major life shift, and I'm so glad that there's this guidebook now that people can really feel seen in it.
That's so funny. That's like literally a line from my book, The Bursts of
Oh,
Creativity.
that's so
I love
funny.
the same
Yeah.
page about that. And also, I talk about mom flow. So, like, as creatives and writers, the feeling that when before kids, you could write for hours or be immersed in like painting or
Yep.
creative task and lose track of time and get into that transcendental experience of flow. Well, so what was surprising to me is that after having kids, um, I didn't have that kind of time to, like, make my way into flow over hours, right? Doing research and writing the way that I used to. So I created this mom flow specifically to help you get into a flow state much quicker so that you're able to take advantage of those small chunks of time that you get when you have a kid, like, while they're napping. So 45 minutes, a half hour, whatever it is, to make the most use of these creative bursts that come with all of this new mental energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And I think it's important that we talk about that because it is such a natural thing that happens to us. And, it feels funny. Almost like you're, like going back to a world that you didn't think you'd be part of, but you still have this new baby to take care of and you're taking care of yourself. And I will say too, as somebody that I was diagnosed with ADHD way after I had kids. And now looking back, I am completely a neurodivergent person. And so I think having this guidebook is super helpful for people that have a neurodivergency because you're like, oh, I, you know, I see the steps I need to take almost, right? Like, I can see, like, this is normal. I'm not losing my mind,
Yeah.
right? Like, and so I think that that's just it's super important, and I'm so glad that this is spelled out from
Mhm.
A to Z for people. So where can everybody buy Rattled, and how can they support you and this mission?
So definitely follow me on Instagram at Dr. Nikki Pensak. That's where I post some content about the book and about, feeling rattled in parenthood. And then the book is available anywhere, actually. So the hardcover has been out for a couple years, and that's it. And the paperback just came out like a month ago, so you can really get it wherever books are sold. But it's also on Audible, which I find for myself, like that's the only way I can read as a mom. Like that's how I get through books at this time. So I think, and I think a lot of moms are in the same boat. So definitely, you can get it from Audible as well.
I love that, and like I said, this makes a really great present, for anybody in your life. And not to mention, I just wanna say we see a lot of women who are going through divorce and pregnancy at the same time. This is a really fantastic support for them and, to go follow Dr. Nikki and, like, get all the support on Instagram and all of those things. I appreciate that you took a time in your life that was, a little bit tricky and you turned it into a educational experience for other people and that you keep talking about it and keep normalizing it and building that community around there. So we appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. And we'll share all the links in the show notes. And if you are listening to this and you know somebody that would benefit from the book, please share this episode with them and share all the links. Thanks, everyone.